Hey, thanks for watching the video. This is my Social Emotional Learning Strategies Toolbox for post-secondary students with moderate to severe disabilities. To keep the video within time constraints, I'm going to read through my 10 SEL strategies, and each slide there's going to be a description of each strategy. If you'd like to pause and read each description, that'd be appreciated. I'm going to focus on what I'd like to do to implement these strategies within my classroom. So my 10 strategies are going to be demonstrating SEL skills, welcoming inclusion activities, engaging strategies, DNA activity, conducting empathy interviews, connect students with real people, student self-report, two-way school-home communication, interactive materials to engage families, and optimistic closure. So demonstrating social emotional learning skills, I'd like to review and remind students to be mindful and respectful of each other. One of the best ways to teach SEL is to model the behavior we want to see. Many of my students yell or burst out loudly, and instead of telling them to stop, I'd like to explain how being that loud hurts my ears and scares me. I want my students to be able to express themselves in the same way instead of yelling back at another student when they do something they don't like. Welcoming inclusion activities. At the beginning of every class, I'd like to greet each of my students as they arrive. I make sure to say their name when greeting them, and depending on the student, we share a high five, fist bump, or a hug. On occasion, I may be finishing setting up when they arrive, but I always make a point to walk around to greet and acknowledge each student before getting started. Engaging strategies. On Wednesdays, I build an obstacle course for my students with about 5 to 10 stations. The stations consist of throwing objects, balancing, and matching puzzles. The students will rotate through the stations for about 20 minutes, and then we'll all take a brain break where we stand at arm's length apart and we practice breathing. The activities can begin to elevate emotions with some students due to all the moving bodies and quick task changes. While breathing, I calmly talk about calm bodies and being aware of those around us. Toward the end of the break, I recap each station and their objective. After we break, we restart the course. So the DNA activity, which is dreams, needs, and abilities. At the beginning of each year and after we return from holiday break, I'd like to incorporate this DNA activity. Asking questions like, where would you like to go in the future? How can I help you each day? And what is something you're really good at? Doing this activity after the students have breaks with their families and friends can reveal personal changes and influences from their communities. Conducting empathy interviews. I like to use this strategy to talk about experiences of conflicts I've observed over the previous year. For example, there was a student that would bang his hand on the desk and would irritate 2 other students. I can ask students about how it made other students feel and what they could do in the situation. I can ask questions about how they would console students that are getting agitated. I want to know if they're able to recognize other students' emotions. Connecting students with real people. We have a great opportunity in our program in that our students work at various job sites in the community. The SEL strategies we learn in class can be applied when interacting with the employees at each site. I'd like to have students talk about their emotional needs and how they will let others know how they're feeling. This is great for the student and the site employees because our students can practice communicating and the employees will be better prepared for the students. Connect students with real people. Sorry about that. I got a little confused. Student self-report. I'd like to create a 4 to 5 question survey for students. To start, I can set up yes or no understanding questions about the 5 SEL core competencies: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. At the end of the year, I can pose questions about specific situations and provide 2 answers. If a student put their hands over their ears, what would we do? A. Keep talking to them. B. Give them some space. 2-way school-home communication. Using one of the district-provided programs, I can reach out to parents and guardians. We'll be able to send emails or text messages based on their preference. Some parents are unfamiliar with using email, but are more comfortable with using their phones to text. I can also send home communications on paper and ask students to give it to the parent. The option to meet in person will be offered and will include the option for a translator. I held a pool day activity and offered these methods of communication if parents had any questions or concerns regarding the trip that year. Interactive materials to engage families. One of my latest activities was creating a nature walk scavenger hunt. Students are to attend a field trip to a local trailhead and identify plants and animals. The introduction for this activity will involve asking students about plants and animals they're familiar with at home and in their community. I will send home an activity sheet that parents can help their students write down any plants or house plants, garden plants, pets, or wildlife they see at their home or in their neighborhood. This will get parents involved in the activity and will give me an idea of what students already know. The last tool is the optimistic closure. At the end of the day, I can ask students what their favorite part of the day was. I can also ask if there is anything they want to know more about. I will also ask if there is a specific exercise or stretch that they can teach their parents or siblings when they get home. Reminding students to share an accomplishment with their families may motivate them to try harder next time. I would also like to ask students to turn to their neighbor and share something they enjoyed from the day. Students can connect by relating or be reminded of an activity they may have forgotten, but ultimately communicating and connecting with classmates at the end of the day. These are the 4 references from this assignment. Thank you again for watching.